In class this week, we're doing vitamin D, and there's so many amazing things about this vitamin, and I wanted to share some of the awesome things that I am learning in my master's program about vitamin D. So first and foremost, what's most interesting about vitamin D is that it's not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone. And because it's a hormone, it has a lot of functions and roles that research is really just starting to understand. Vitamin D originally was just thought of as, important for bone health and keeps you from things like rickets and osteomalacia. So, and what's really interesting, or why this vitamin / hormone is being spoken of so much now, is because so many people are deficient in this vitamin. And the reason for this deficiency, I believe, is there's a lot less, time spent outside. And then when you are outside, you're lathering up with sunscreen. And vitamin D, the best source of vitamin D is the sun. Essentially, we are plants trying to soak up some sun. And so if you have a limited time outside, and then when you are outside, you're lathering up with sunscreen, you're giving your body very little time to make vitamin D. So what do? So in order to get your vitamin D, it's to spend time in the sun. Like, how fun is that? Has your dietitian or nutritionist or doctor even said go out in the sun and just soak up some sun? Because that's what you need to do for vitamin D. And it is dependent on your location. Are you close to the equator, the time of day that you're out there, and then also the color of your skin. If you have more melanin or a darker skin tone, it's going to take you longer to absorb and make that vitamin D. So you get to spend more time outside in the sun, or just hold off on putting on that sunscreen right away. So for reference, for those who are of a lighter complexion, 5 to 15 minutes should be enough. And then the darker you are, add on to that. You don't want to get burnt. That's not what we're advocating for. We just want you to get some vitamin D in you. And then there's also vitamin D that you can get from some food sources. So I have a chart here. So some food sources that are high in vitamin D are from your fatty fish that are high in omega-3 fatty acids. So that's like a win-win there. So salmon, mackerel, tuna, cod liver oil, you've probably heard of that. And beef kidney, beef muscle, pork liver, egg yolk. So don't eat egg whites. Egg yolk has a little bit, but it's not that much. The recommended daily allowance is 600 IUs, but that's assuming that you have some sun. So you need both. You need dietary and then also sun exposure for your vitamin D. And so I just mentioned that there was D3 and there's also D2. So there is some debate on how if one is more effective than the other. However, Hollick, he is a prominent researcher for vitamin D. He says that there's not really much of a difference. So D2 is from a plant source for vitamin D, and D3 is from an animal source. So if you are a vegan or vegetarian and you do not want to ingest things that are from animals, D2 is a supplement that you would go for. And then if not, D3 is a supplement that you would go for. And do you need to supplement? That is a good question. I personally, my own personal opinion, I think if you're not getting a lot of sun and you're inside all the time, it's something to consider. You can bring it up to your doctor. Your doctor can check your vitamin D levels. They'll draw a lab and they can tell you if you're deficient or not. And then also provide a supplement that will help you bump up that vitamin D, because it will help you with a lot of, it's an important vitamin to get in check. And then you can also talk to a dietitian who can look at foods and see if you're getting it dietary wise. But again, the sun is key. Okay, and then I will leave you with this. The RDA, again, as I said, was about 600 IUs, which the RDA again is recommended daily allowance. However, there is research saying that if you have a lot of adipose tissue, little chunky little curves going, it does increase your needs for vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, so it needs fat to be digested and transported through the body. However, it's also stored with fat. So if you have a lot of adipose tissue, the vitamin D is going to go into storage and not going to be circulating in the blood. So because of that, there is this thought that you need higher levels of vitamin D, higher than the RDA, which is 600. So a BMI of greater than 30, if you understand what that is, I'm not going to go into that now, you will need higher amounts of vitamin D. And so for specific amounts, you can talk to a dietitian. They'll be able to work through that with you more specifically. And then also, just know that the UL, the upper limit, the limit that would cause problems, like you can overdose on vitamins, is very high. It's usually 50,000 international units or IUs, and that type of intervention is usually just seen in hospital settings and is done under medical advice. So very rare and very hard to do. And some research even says that that's not even relevant. So it's a topic of debate. We'll just leave it at that. And I hope that you guys get started thinking about vitamin D. If you are stuck inside this winter, really think about supplementing or eating some salmon, some fatty liver fish and fatty liver. Fish? No, there's no liver. Is there liver? Liver has everything in it, but okay. That was vitamin D. Thanks for being with me. Okay. Bye.